Welcome to the Quincy Access Television Studios. I'm Mark Crosby. Thank you for joining us for Good Deeds, the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds, here for a quarterly update. The quarterly update will be conducted by the Register of Deeds. That would be Bill O'Donnell. Bill, welcome back.
Mark, thanks so much for having me. Thanks to QATV and the staff and the students that helped put this together. And I know we try to bring some information. The Registry of Deeds is in Dedham, Mass. Norfolk County's been around since 1793, and the registry's been there since 1793. And but again, at the registry, there's a story, and it's about probably the biggest asset most of us have are our homes. So we'll give you a few statistics and hopefully some information that will help not just the residents in Norfolk County, but again, I know this gets broadcast across county, and a lot of the information we have, whether it's recording a homestead. If you're buying a home, you should have a homestead recorded. It's in the statute, it's in state law, it protects the consumers, and that's the type of information we're trying to give. But
while you're talking about the homestead's automatic. However, there is a filing that you can increase the amount.
Yes. For the first time, and I always say thank you, local legislators, they did an automatic filing. And other states have an automatic filing, but in Massachusetts, you get an automatic $125,000 worth of protection just for not doing anything. But in the past, to affirmatively get the protections of the homestead, you had to put a homestead on. And it's a 1 or 2 page document that sort of puts a picket fence around your principal residence so that there can't be a forced sale for certain debts, credit card debts, maybe you got into an accident, there's some type of judgment against you. Again, that recently, that's been around for a long time, but recently they amended it up where there's $1 million worth of protection.
$1 million?
So, yes. So it's well worth, whether you're a new homeowner or someone that's been around, make sure you get a homestead put on your property and get it recorded at the registry. But again, if you don't do anything, you get that lesser protection. I think you're better off because there's a lot of other hidden protections in the statute relative to if your house burnt down and you get an insurance check. If you have a homestead recorded, it protects those proceeds from creditors, again, for a limited period of time of 2 years. And it also protects the proceeds of the sale of your house, again, for a limited period of time. And
so the automatic is $125?
Yes, and it gets apportioned depending on who owns it. So to me, I would rather record a homestead at the registry and get the protections that are out there.
Was it at $500 at one point?
It was, and again, thank you, local legislators, and it through the statutory and legislative process went up to $1 million.
And to do that, it's just a filing fee?
Yeah, yes, and again, if you have a homestead, you don't have to do anything. So even though you might have recorded the homestead when it was $500,000 worth of protection, you get the benefit of the increase. But I'm telling people, and you can go on our website, our documents go back to 1793. We have internet land record research that you can go on our website, www.norfolkdeeds.org, to look up whether you have a homestead, or call our customer service center, 781-461-6101, and ask, hey, do I have a homestead on my property? But if you don't have a homestead, take the time. I'm an attorney by training, and I always say you talk to 10 different attorneys, you get 10 different opinions, but 9.9 attorneys out of 10 would tell the consumer, the homeowner, the property owner, if that's your principal residence, you should put a homestead on.
And before we leave this topic, is there something like an elderly homestead?
Well, they have in Massachusetts, they define elderly as 62 and above. So yes, elderly can do it. There's some question whether like an elderly couple can stack. Again, different attorneys, different things on that, meaning you could stack your coverage 1 million and 1 million. It used to be 500 and 500. There's some pushback, of course, from creditors on that. But yes, there is by statute an elderly homestead. Again, some of the statistics that have taken taking place, we're looking at July, August, and September. That's the third quarter of 2025, and we're comparing it to the third quarter of 2024. And I think it just shows a continued upward trend. For instance, total documents recorded at the registry were up 9% over 2025, over 2024, again for that July, August, and September. And the total documents recorded at the registry in 2024 were 27,799 documents, and it went up to 30,209 documents, and that makes up the 9% increase. And then we start looking at, well, what goes into the documents? Well, obviously, sales. When people sell property, whether it's a business, with land, or you're buying a home or buying a condominium, a deed gets recorded at the Registry of Deeds, and those are up 7% again over 2025, July, August, September. It's increased 7% over 2024, July, August, September. And again, that was 4,320 deeds in 2024 to 4,612 in 2025. So I think even with interest rates being high, people are buying property in Norfolk County. I think Norfolk County has a lot of desirable communities. So even though I think, especially you feel bad for younger people, the interest rates are so high, are higher than what they were back not a few years ago. They were 2.625, and now they're in the sixes. Up, and it's.
And the Fed's made a cut recently.
Yes, and it always takes time for those cuts, to winnow down, and we'll see, where it ultimately takes that 30-year mortgage. But I think it's very interesting. I was reading the Mortgage Bankers Association, and they said on a regional basis, home prices increased year to year in the northern region. And on September 24th, 2025, it showed an increase of 6.34%. So again, notwithstanding there's efforts to try to increase demand, prices are going up. And what's troubling to me is Bankrate did a survey, and Bankrate said in their survey over the last 5 years, 1 in 6 prospective buyers, young people, or maybe people who want to upgrade, have given up because they could not find a house they liked or could afford. And I think that's important, an interesting thing. Now, maybe some of those people are getting to the point where, well, I got to get back into the market. I'm a young couple, and we have a young child. We got to get a house or something. We're renting. We got to find a condo. So again, we see an increase in demand in Norfolk County and an increase in the amount of deeds recorded, and that also is reflected in the mortgages. When you buy a house, you have to borrow money. Or when you refinance, maybe you're taking some money out to pay for college, or maybe you've decided, hey, I can't afford those because I have a nice lower interest rate. I better just take an equity line out or a second mortgage to renovate my house because I'm not buying that $800,000 house when I have a 3% interest rate. And we see it in the documents. 4,231 mortgages were recorded July, August, September of 2024. And in July, August, September of 2025, it's 4,697. So that's an 11% increase. And again, one thing good as far as buyers, USA Today had a note that in July of 2025, there were 660 new homes in Norfolk County listed on the market, which was a 6.1 increase from July of 2024. So there's more listings, but the brokers I talk to say inventory is still a problem. And when inventory is a problem, the prices are still going to be kind of higher. So
now, you would think right here in the city of Quincy, there is a lot of building going on, mostly condos and apartments. Throughout the county, is that the trend? Are there areas that are seeing more single-family houses as opposed to condos?
And again, there's been recent legislation with that MBTA bill that has corridors, and especially as you go out to the western part of Norfolk County, it's along the MBTA line. So I think there have been efforts to increase housing production, increase housing units, but even if they're being increased, it still seems like there's a lot of demand for housing. And again, that's reflected in prices. I mean, I know they can talk about national trends, and I always try to tell people, yeah, but you got to look at the regional. And then when you break it even down, look at Norfolk County, look at some of the towns, so that maybe there are trends nationally that say, because of the increases in housing starts and housing production, prices are going down. But again, I think if you look regionally in Norfolk County, it's still, people want to live in Norfolk County, therefore there's high demand, and the production of housing units, whether they're condominiums or houses, aren't keeping up with the demand. And then, anecdotally, the brokers tell me that, hey, there's still not enough inventory out there. So when these houses, maybe it's not as crazy as it was not that long ago where there's 8 or 9 offers, but it's still competitive. And it's still, we'll see how that transitions in the future.
Because the Fed is likely going to cut rates again.
Well, that might bring even more people in, because now some of those that figure I mentioned, the one in that 1 in 6 prospective buyers are sitting out because they couldn't afford it. Well, now they may feel like, oh, the interest rates have gotten a lower, and maybe I can get back in the market, which will increase demand. So it will be interesting. One good statistic and again, some people look at these statistics, it's great, the value of my house is going up, and other people look at it, I can't afford to buy.
True.
But we track foreclosures, and the good news is there have been reductions in Norfolk County in the number of foreclosure deeds and in the number of notices of foreclosure, which is the first part of the process. Down 50%. There weren't many in 2024, 24 foreclosure deeds. It's down to 12. And as far as notices, there were 87, and it's down 7%. But that's still, notices mean people are possibly getting their house foreclosed on. And my recommendation is go to our website, www.norfolkdeeds.org. We have information. We've partnered up with our partners out there. And those partners are Quincy Community Action Program. Their direct telephone number is 617-479-8181. And NeighborWorks Housing Solutions, 508-587-0950. These are nonprofit groups that have committed to giving people advice on a legal process, which that's what a foreclosure is, and also counseling advice as far as what got you into the situation. And also on our website, the Massachusetts Attorney General's office, we have links to them because they've given out information as well to help with that problem. So, please reach out and reach out before there's a sale taking place at the front of your house.
Just a couple of weeks ago, you had sent out an email regarding the importance of mortgage discharges. Talk about that.
Yes, again, we talked about the mortgages when you borrow money, but when you pay off, when your mortgage gets paid off, whether it's a first mortgage, a second mortgage, even an equity line's a mortgage. If you've paid off that mortgage, make sure your lender gets that discharge recorded. Now, sometimes the lenders don't send it to the registry. They send it to the consumer, and the consumer gets all that paperwork that tells them that the loan has been paid off, and they think they're all set. But in that paperwork is a discharge, and that discharge tells the world that the mortgage is paid off. Make sure it gets recorded at the registry. And if your lender is saying, oh, we're going to take care of it, you can go on our website yourself and check to to see if the discharge gets recorded, and or call our customer service, and we've given that number before, 781-461-6101, and say, hey, I have a mortgage, has it been discharged? But you'd rather do it timely to it getting paid off, because you don't want to be in that situation as we see people come to our registry, or people come when we have some outreach programs and say, listen, I'm trying to sell my house, and they say I need a discharge. That thing was paid off 20 years ago. So, and if you have questions about who your lender is, go on our website. We have a document, where has my bank gone? Where has my lender gone? And you can look up if you had a mortgage with Union Warren. Union Warren, I think, is Citizens. But, you can trace who your bank was, and then reach out to the new entity and get the discharge.
Very good. Consumer notification. Talk briefly about that.
Always important. We started a consumer notification service, and I always said we started it because we thought it was a good service, not because now the FBI says the fastest growing white collar crime is property and mortgage fraud. So I've signed up. You can go to our website. It has to be done online. It's the nature of our modern registry and modern society. If you go onto our website and you hit services, there'll be a drop-down box for consumer notification service. I get an email anytime a William O'Donnell document gets recorded at the registry. And sometimes it's William O'Donnell here in Quincy, and I'm from Norwood, so it has nothing to do with me. Sometimes it's William J. O'Donnell, and I'm William Patrick O'Donnell. But there's going to be a time when I get this notice, I look it up and say, wait a minute, I didn't sign that deed, my spouse didn't sign that deed, it's not, we didn't sign that deed, or we didn't sign that equity line. Now, again, the Consumer Notification Service doesn't prevent a fraud, but it gets on, we can act on it quickly. And again, I draw it similar to people that have credit card debts, like a credit card situation where it's been compromised. You got some work to do, but at least you get notified, and you can get on it right away. My parents bought out in Norwood in 1960, and no one checked their title. There's no scams going on. It's a different world we live in. So I think it's important. Again, it's a free service. I know there are other services out there, and I can understand why people are paying money for the service, because, hey, and people should look at those services. But we do have for Norfolk County properties a free service that if people want to, have that extra layer of, we're not eliminating the fraud, but we're protecting against it. And I think it's another example of the registry, even though we're an arm of government people may not know about, we're trying to be relevant to what's going on in the communities. And unfortunately, cybersecurity risk, cybersecurity scams, and frauds, which is now seeping into the real estate market, whether it's deeds or mortgages, are taking place.
Absolutely. Let's talk about an event that happened recently. It had to do with notable land records and something you called We Remember Our Women.
Yeah, and really, this all goes back to, all those records. And we had a History Comes Alive transcription project, which from 1793 to 1900, there were over 450,000 documents that were handwritten out, and we had them transcribed. And history does come alive if you can read the documents, and it led to a partnership with you, Mark, and with QATV, where we started doing historical tape pieces on various individuals, on various entities around Norfolk County, and we've had a number of what we call notable land records books. And again, this, we did one, and it was a very interesting one, just celebrating the women in Norfolk County. And some of it's historical. I mean, think about it. We have 4 presidents born here in Norfolk County. That makes us, there's very few counties that can claim that. You can go online and look at the deeds from President John Adams to his son, President John Quincy Adams. But when we did this book, and it's just another one in the series, and this is the book that we did, it not only involved people of history, Abigail Adams, who was a very close confidant of her husband, who became the 2nd president, but also, imagine that, she was the mother of the 6th president. Well, she's part of Norfolk County. You have Deborah Sampson. she snuck in to fight the Revolutionary War, was thrown out, and then snuck back in again. So there's a lot of great historical women figures from Norfolk County, but also modern people. Allie Raisman was an Olympic gold medal winner who spoke out against abuse. Sunita Williams, the astronaut. So there's a lot of good information. We have some of the history about the suffrage movement that took place in Norfolk County, and there's just some great stories about individuals, some historical, a lot of veterans, some veterans. In fact, in Franklin, we have Lieutenant General Maria Barrett and Major General Paula Lodi. They were sisters that grew up in Franklin. So if anyone wants this book, they can email me at registerodonnell at norfolkdeeds.org, and we'd gladly get the book out to you. But again, it was a great project. And I want to thank there was a lot of celebration. A lot of people came together. It was at the registry. We love showcasing the Norfolk Registry of Deeds, which is across from the Gold Dome Superior Court. But Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll had heard about the project we were doing and wanted to speak at it, and she did a great job, talking about, tying, the history that we have in Norfolk County to what's going on in our modern society. And it was just a great celebration. And I love doing the history piece of it and doing these things. And that's why I love our partnership with QATV and the videos. But I also like seeing it come together. I mean, we had the Norwood High, my hometown, Madrigals was singing.
They were fantastic.
They just do a great job, and so it was a great event, and I like seeing all the people come together for that event.
And I guess we'll end on two drives that you have at the end of each year. The holiday food drive, and then the Toys for Tots.
And thank you. That and when you think about it, that's probably one of the most important things to say. I mean, there are a lot of needs in Norfolk County and across Massachusetts, and we've been doing this for years. We've always done a holiday food drive, which kind of starts off the Thanksgiving. We should be thankful. I'm thankful for things in my life. Other people, have needs, and we carry it through the holiday season. So starting at November 12th, we go into December 18th, we do a holiday food drive. We have out in the lobby at the Norfolk Registry. People can drop items off. But more importantly, if you, again, go to our website, www.norfolkdeeds.org, we have a list of all the food pantries in Norfolk County, and they're looking for donations. And I know it's the holiday season. They're looking for donations all year round. So if you want to go directly to them and volunteer or bring items, please go directly to these food pantries. And also, again, thanks to all veterans for their service, but we partnered up with the United States Marine Corps, and we've been doing the Toys for Tots drive for years, and that will be coming up. And again, we're a drop-off center, and again, we appreciate what people do, and we are very happy to kind of have that community sense, that to be a conduit to help others in our community.
When you said that the food is needed all year, it certainly is, and we are taping this program during the government shutdown, and folks aren't getting paid. So I understand that food pantries are feeling more pressure now than ever.
And when we go around to the food pantries and talk to the people that run it, there's been increased pressures and increased families and using as I said, there's food pantries, multiple food pantries in all 28 communities in Norfolk County. And you're right, those pressures were increasing even before things like government shutdowns, and where people aren't getting paid and are put in a tough spot.
Any other news before we close this program?
No, I just appreciate everything you do, and I want to wish you good luck. I mean, Mark is the Steven Spielberg, as I say, of Norfolk. Those History Comes Alive taping things that we do, and then they get submitted into for competition. And I know there could be a great reveal coming up in December where Mark's project is either going to get first place, second place, or third place, but no matter what, it was a great project. And I know a lot of those tapes are on our website, and I certainly wish you well. When it's like the Academy Awards, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And thank you. And this piece that is under consideration is a piece that we did on the Franklin Public Library,
which is, again, was part of the History Comes Alive project. And that Franklin Public Library, if anyone wants to go down and you walk in, it's like a museum between the paintings. But people don't realize Ben Franklin, again, the town was named after Ben Franklin. They solicited him to. They wanted to put a bell when they built the town hall, and he sent books instead and said, start a library. Sense over sound is what he wrote. And it was the first public library in America. So again, the history that's around the communities of Norfolk County are tremendous, and you make them come alive with the great videos. They can come alive with these books, but you also make it come alive on a video that can be preserved and watched in future years.
And I should mention that the video was a springboard from the books.
Correct. Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you, Bill, for joining me here and joining all of Norfolk County. Thank you for the update.
Great, and thanks. And once again, thanks for everyone that's watching. And again, if anyone needs anything at the registry, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you for watching, and thank you for providing this service to QATV. Thank you, QATV.
Thank you. And thank you at home for watching. And just please remember to support the local access station. We are so important. Please support that in the community in which you reside. Take care.